She said, "I only used your card for a weekend girls trip." I said, "No problem." Then I saw $8,700 charged at a luxury hotel under her name and a man's name. I paid the bill, canceled the card, and let her explain who he was. Original post. I, 29M, had been with my girlfriend, Qley, 28F, for just under 3 years. We met at a dog park in Austin, Texas. I'm a software developer, and she works in marketing for a mid-sized tech firm. We moved in together about a year ago, renting a nice townhouse in the Mueller neighborhood. Things were generally good. We had our squabbles, mostly about chores or where to eat, but nothing major. We trusted each other. Or so I thought. A few months ago, Qley mentioned wanting to take a weekend trip with her girlfriends to a winery out in Fredericksburg. She said she was feeling stressed at work and just needed to unwind. I totally got it. I was busy with a big project release anyway, so a quiet weekend at home sounded nice. Before she left on Friday, she was in a panic because her main credit card had been compromised and her replacement hadn't arrived in the mail yet. She asked if she could borrow one of mine just in case of an emergency or if she needed to cover her share of dinner. "I only used your card for a weekend girls trip," she said, giving me a kiss. "I'll pay you back as soon as my new one comes." "No problem," I told her, handing over my Chase Sapphire Reserve card. I trusted her implicitly. I didn't think twice about it. She kissed me goodbye, grabbed her weekender bag, and headed out. She texted me a few times over the weekend, mostly pictures of wine glasses and sunsets. Everything seemed totally normal. She got back Sunday evening, looking refreshed and happy. She handed me my card back and said the trip was amazing, but they ended up mostly splitting things on Venmo, so she didn't use my card much at all. I went back to my project, and life went on. About 2 weeks later, I was doing my monthly budget review. I logged into my Chase account to check the balance on the reserve card. I almost choked on my coffee. There was a pending charge for $8,700 from the St. Regis Deer Valley in Park City, Utah. My heart dropped into my stomach. Fredericksburg is a 3-hour drive from Austin. Park City is a flight away. And $8,700? That's not a winery tour. That's a luxury ski resort. I frantically clicked on the transaction details. It showed the charge was for a 3-night stay in a suite. But that wasn't the worst part. The billing details showed the reservation was under the name Qley Vance and a second guest name, Declan Hayes. Declan Hayes. The name sounded familiar, but I couldn't quite place it. I went to Qley's Instagram. I scrolled through her recent followers and the people she followed. There he was, Declan Hayes, a guy with perfect teeth, standing next to a sleek sports car in his profile picture. His bio said he was a venture capitalist based in Dallas. I felt sick. My hands were shaking. I had handed her my credit card so she could go on a romantic luxury vacation with another man. And she had the nerve to lie straight to my face about a girl's trip. I took a deep breath. I didn't confront her immediately. If I blew up now, she would just deny it, make up some lie about Declan being a friend of a friend who needed a room, or something equally absurd. I needed to be smart about this. I needed to make sure she couldn't squirm her way out of it. First, I paid the credit card bill in full. I had the savings, and I didn't want the balance affecting my credit score while I figured this out. Second, I immediately canceled that specific Chase Sapphire Reserve card and requested a new one with a different number. I made sure to tell the bank it was lost, not stolen, just to keep things simple for the moment. Then I waited. Qley came home from work that evening, humming a tune, totally oblivious. We ate dinner, watched an episode of some true crime documentary, and went to bed. I barely slept. Every time I looked at her, I felt a wave of nausea. The next evening, I decided it was time. We were sitting on the couch after dinner. I had my laptop open, pretending to work. "Hey, Kins," I said, keeping my voice as casual as possible. "I was looking at my credit card statement today." She froze slightly, then recovered quickly. "Oh, did I charge too much for dinner that one time? I can Venmo you right now." "No, it's not that," I said, turning the laptop screen towards her. I had the transaction page open. I was just wondering, how was the snow in Park City? All the color drained from her face. She stared at the screen, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. I don't know what that is," she stammered, her eyes darting around the room. "It's a charge for $8,700 from the St. Regis Deer Valley," I read calmly. "It's a really nice place. Did you enjoy the suite?" "There must be a mistake," she said, her voice rising in panic. Someone stole your card number. You need to dispute that immediately. I thought about that, I replied, leaning back. But then I called the hotel to check. They confirmed the reservation. I paused, letting the silence hang heavy in the air. They also confirmed the names on the reservation. I continued, my voice hardening. Qley Vance and Declan Hayes. She looked like she was going to pass out. She buried her face in her hands. So, I said, closing the laptop, are you going to explain to me who Declan is and why you spent $8,700 of my money to go on a vacation with him while telling me you were in Fredericksburg with the girls? She burst into tears. Real, ugly crying. It's not what it looks like, she wailed. Oh, really? I said, crossing my arms. Because it looks exactly like you cheated on me, used my money to fund your affair, and lied to my face about it. Please, enlighten me on how it's different. She sobbed for a good 5 minutes before she could speak coherently. He's just a guy I met a few months ago at a networking event. She finally confessed, refusing to look me in the eye. He's been pursuing me. He offered to take me to Park City. He said he'd pay for everything. Then why did you use my card? I demanded. His card got declined at the hotel, she cried. He said his bank put a freeze on his account because he was traveling. He promised he would wire me the money as soon as we got back. I panicked. I didn't want to ruin the trip. I thought I could just pay you back before you noticed. I stared at her in disbelief. So, let me get this straight. You went on a secret vacation with another man. His card got declined, and you used my card to pay for your romantic getaway with him. I know how terrible it sounds, she pleaded, reaching out for my hand. I pulled away, but it meant nothing. It was a mistake. I love you. You love me so much you planned a fake girl's trip to go sleep with a guy named Declan at the St. Regis on my dime. I laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. He's wiring the money, she insisted. He promised. I don't care about the money right now, Qley, I said coldly. I paid the bill. I canceled the card. She looked confused. You paid it? Yes, I said, because I don't want my credit ruined by your infidelity. But here is what's going to happen now. I stood up. You have until tomorrow evening to get your stuff out of this house, I told her. I'm breaking the lease. I'll pay whatever penalty there is. I don't care. I'm moving out, and you are entirely on your own. Please don't do this, she begged, grabbing my arm. We can work this out. We can go to counseling. There is no we anymore, I said, shaking her off. You lied, you cheated, and you stole from me. We're done. I walked into the bedroom, grabbed a bag, and threw some clothes in it. I was going to stay at a hotel for the night. I couldn't bear to be in the same house as her. As I walked out the front door, she was still sitting on the couch, sobbing. I didn't look back. Update 1. It's been a week since I confronted Qley and walked out. I stayed at a Hampton Inn for 3 days while I figured out my next moves. The first thing I did was call my landlord. He's a decent guy, and when I explained the situation, minus the gory details, just that we broke up and I needed out, he said if I could find someone to take over the remainder of the lease, he'd waive the penalty. Luckily, the Austin rental market is hot, and I found a couple willing to move in by the end of the month. I went back to the townhouse while Qley was at work to pack up my essentials, my monitors, my clothes, some important documents. I left her stuff completely untouched. I wanted this to be as clean a break as possible. Qley, meanwhile, has been relentless. She's called me probably 50 times and texted me paragraphs of apologies and justifications. She keeps saying it was a one-time lapse in judgment, that Declan meant nothing, and that she was just flattered by his attention. The most pathetic part? Declan hasn't paid her back. In one of her frantic voicemails, she admitted that Declan has ghosted her. His phone goes straight to voicemail, and he blocked her on Instagram. Apparently, Mr. Venture Capitalist wasn't as wealthy as he claimed to be, or he just used her for a free luxury vacation. The irony is almost sweet. She's now begging me to let her set up a payment plan to pay back the $8,700. She says she doesn't have that kind of cash lying around. I finally texted her back yesterday. I expect the full $8,700 wired to my account by Friday, I wrote. If it's not there, I will take you to small claims court. I have the credit card statement, the hotel confirmation, and your texts admitting you used it for a trip with another man. Don't test me. She replied immediately. I can't get it by Friday. Please, I'll pay you $500 a month. I ignored it. I'm not her bank. She can take out a loan, sell her car, or borrow from her parents. I don't care. I just want my money back and her out of my life forever. I'm currently looking for a smaller apartment just for myself. The quiet is nice, but the anger is still simmering just below the surface. Update 2. Friday came and went. No wire transfer. No $8,700. I wasn't surprised, but I was furious. I spent the weekend gathering every piece of evidence I had. I printed out the credit card statement showing the charge at the St. Regis. I had the email from the hotel confirming the reservation names, Qley Vance and Declan Hayes. Most importantly, I screenshotted all her text messages where she explicitly admitted to using my card for the trip with Declan and begging to pay me back in installments. Monday morning, I took half a day off work and went straight to the Travis County Courthouse. Filing for small claims court in Texas for an amount under $20,000 is surprisingly straightforward. I filled out the petition, paid the filing fee, which I added to the total amount she owed me, and had her formally served at her office. I would have paid good money to see the look on her face when the process server handed her the papers in front of her coworkers. The fallout was immediate. My phone blew up. She called, she texted, and then the unthinkable happened. Her mother called me. Qley's mom, Brenda, has always been a bit overbearing, but we usually got along okay. "How could you do this to Qley?" Brenda shrieked into the phone as soon as I answered. "Taking her to court? Over a silly mistake." "A mistake, Brenda?" I replied, keeping my tone dead level. "She used my credit card to spend nearly $9,000 on a luxury vacation with another man. That's not a mistake. That's theft and infidelity." There was a long pause on the other end. "She told me she accidentally used the wrong card for a work trip," Brenda said, her voice faltering. I almost laughed. "A work trip? With a guy named Declan to a ski resort in Utah?" "Brenda, I have the hotel receipts and her texts admitting to the affair. If you'd like, I can send them to you so you have the full story." Brenda hung up on me. About an hour later, I got a text from Qley. "You ruined my life. My parents are furious. They are forcing me to take out a personal loan to pay you back, so this doesn't go to court. Are you happy now?" "I'll be happy when the money is in my account," I texted back. "I also finalized my new apartment lease today. I move in next weekend. It's smaller, but it's mine. I'm starting to feel a little lighter." Final update. It's been exactly 2 months since the girls' trip that blew up my life. The money finally showed up in my account a week after I filed the small claims suit. Qley's parents apparently co-signed a high-interest personal loan for her, so she could pay me off before the court date. Once the transfer cleared, I contacted the court and dropped the suit. I got my $8,700 back, plus the filing fees. I considered that chapter officially closed. I moved into my new apartment. It's in the East Austin area, closer to some of my favorite breweries and taco trucks. It's smaller than the townhouse, but it's completely mine, and it doesn't have a single memory of Qley attached to it. I've learned a bit more about the infamous Declan Hayes through the grapevine. Austin is a big city, but circles can be surprisingly small. It turns out, Declan is a known grifter in the Dallas and Austin dating scenes. He's not a venture capitalist. He's basically a high-end couch surfer who targets women with decent jobs, flashes fake wealth, rented cars, maxed-out credit cards, and convinces them to foot the bill for extravagant outings while promising to reimburse them. Qley wasn't his first victim, and she probably won't be his last. Part of me almost feels bad for her. She blew up a stable, loving 3-year relationship for a fake millionaire who left her with nearly 10 grand in high-interest debt and public humiliation. But then I remember the lie. "I only used your card for a weekend girls trip." I remember the coldness of that deception. She was perfectly willing to let me pay for her betrayal. I'm doing well now. I got a promotion at work last week, which comes with a nice salary bump. I've started going to a climbing gym, and I'm planning a trip to Colorado next month. A real trip, paid for with my own money, with friends who actually care about me. I haven't spoken a word to Qley since the day she wired the money. I blocked her on everything. I don't know where she's living or how she's managing her new debt, and frankly, I don't care. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't dramatic or explosive. It's just getting your money back, walking away cleanly, and letting them live with the pathetic mess they made of their own lives.